beautiful Wednesday evening. Again, please be sure to check us out on Descúbrete y Lánzate TV. You can also hear us on podcasts through Apple Tunes, Spotify, and Speaker. Today, we have a beautiful guest, Miss Beth Fattini, Director of Green Inside and Out. And later on, next segment, we're going to have Margarita Espada and Medella Maldonado. We're going to be talking about Puerto Rico, so all my Boricuas, please stay tuned. But right now, again, let me just remind you, Flutterflies TV is here to inspire, to motivate you, to really go for that dream. And we're going to be talking, again, real people, real talk. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook under Flutterflies Movement and show us some love, give us some likes and stuff like that. So, again, Beth Fattini, welcome to Flutterflies TV.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So we met a few years ago. I don't know if you'll recall. The first time I met you and I heard all that great information that you gave us was through the Brentwood Bayshore Breast Cancer Coalition.
Yeah.
And you did it in Spanish. And that was your first time that you gave a presentation in Spanish.
Yes.
And you did an amazing job. So tell our audience a little bit about Beth Fattini.
Sure. Well, I'm the director of Green Inside and Out. It's a small nonprofit based in Huntington, but we cover all of Long Island, basically just helping people to be green. We do a radio show as well on WUSB once a month at 6 p.m. on Fridays. Again, just educating the community about what's going on and what they can do to be involved to help the environment.
Amazing. Again, Beth Fattini here sharing her knowledge, her expertise on having a greener life and really saving our environment, if we could say that, right?
We can.
Yes, yes. So please stay tuned and we'll be right back. Here, Flutterflies TV, I am your host, Alexandra Velez. Extremely excited to be here, sharing some information. We're here with my guest, Beth Fattini, Director of Green Inside and Out, sharing her expertise. She's going to let us know a little bit. As many of you have noticed, there's been a lot of natural disasters taking place, and she's going to share some insight on her thoughts on maybe, are we creating them, or are these really just something that it's just happening around the world? But please be sure to continue every Wednesday at this time, 8 p.m. to tune in to Descúbrete y Lánzate and watch our Flutterflies channel, where we aim to inspire and motivate you. Please be sure to use the hashtags Real People, Real Talk. Here, Beth, so I was looking, it's a scary world right now. There's a lot of natural disasters. So last night I was like, is it just me that I think there's so many things going on? But I came across a website that actually has some valuable information, but also when you start reading and really see facts after facts and data, it's kind of scary what's happening in our world. So some of the natural disasters going back to 2018, there's been some really extremely European heat waves that hit in 2018 that broke out in Greece. It was one of the second deadliest wildfires in the Japan floods that killed almost 300 people. We've had earthquakes, tsunamis in Indonesia that killed over 2,000 people. The wildfires in California, the recent disasters in Australia, and of course, all of these disasters have been hitting Puerto Rico, my beautiful island, back to back. So many of us think, or many people think, that this is the end of the world. We're paying for the abuse that we've done to our earth. Or what do you think? Do you think they might be right, or is it something that we're provoking, man is provoking these earthquakes, or we're just paying for the abuse?
That's an interesting question. Well, there are certain natural disasters that I think human activity contributes to. With earthquakes, I don't know so much if we're contributing to that. However, because of the fracking, hydrofracking of natural gas, I've heard that there have been small earthquakes even in the United States because of that, because we're extracting from deep underneath the earth to take out the gas. But in terms of things like the wildfires, hurricanes, those are being related to climate change because, so for example, hurricanes are, when the water in the ocean becomes really warm, it gathers a lot of energy. So even though every year we might have cycles of hurricanes, that's a natural occurrence. What's happening is those hurricanes are lasting longer, they're becoming stronger, and it's due to the fact that there's so much heat in the ocean, which is being caused by so much carbon in the atmosphere, which we can clearly relate to the use of so many fossil fuels, and which releases carbon and methane and things like that into the atmosphere, and they trap heat.
Okay, so even here on Long Island, I've been noticing we get a lot of strong winds, and I've just been seeing the difference in the last couple of years. I mean, I lived in Puerto Rico for about 11 years, so I love the heat. I love the warmth, right? We've had an extremely warm winter for the last couple of years. This, I think if we got like an inch or two this year, it was a lot. So do you think it's because we're really damaging our earth, and this is why we're having these, we enjoy the warm weather, but it's not natural?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So there are predictions that say that the climate of New York in 50 years might be almost like the climate of Georgia. So that has impacts on our agriculture systems, and it definitely has big impacts. And like you mentioned earlier with California, with when they get droughts and the land is very dry, that's perfect fodder for wildfires, which may naturally occur. They come and go, but they spread like wildfire because the land is so dry, and it's from changes in the climate because of the global warming.
And that's funny that you mentioned that we will have warmer weather here in New York. So when I was in 7th grade, I like to say this story. When I was in 7th grade a few years ago, my teacher, my science teacher, Mr. Bob from St. Francis Cabrini, he mentioned, and we're going back quite a few years, that our weather, he referred it to Florida. And now you see how we have warm winters, and then in Florida, they see some snow, they have to wear a heavier jacket. So we are seeing the change and the damage that we've done to our climate, to our atmosphere, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of Florida, they're on the front lines of sea level rise, because as the sea warms, it also expands, and the glaciers are melting. It seems like something way off in the distance. Who cares about that? But it's making the level of the sea rise, and we have cities like Miami and New York and many others right on the coast, and they're having to deal with this, to keep the ocean at bay, basically. Amazing. So yeah, mitigation efforts. It's going to be expensive. So when people say, oh, it's too expensive to do renewables and this, that, well, it's going to be expensive to clean up after things like we saw Hurricane Sandy, how much it cost us in lives and money.
Absolutely. So we're here again, my friends, with Beth Fattini from Green Inside and Out through Descúbrete y Lánzate TV. Please be sure to tune in every Wednesday, where we'll share information, valuable information regarding real people, real issues. Please stay tuned as we'll talk about, with Beth, can we still save our Earth? Is there still a chance? We'll be right back. Flutterflies TV through Descúbrete y Lánzate, and I have my beautiful guest, Beth Fattini, Director of Green Inside and Out, sharing her knowledge and her expertise. We've been talking about the disasters, natural disasters. Are we the cause, or is this just something that is happening around the world? Now she's going to share some of the changes that we can do to hopefully expand our time on Earth. So Beth, what do you think are some of the changes that we can start doing?
Absolutely. So there's so many things that people are already doing, and we just need to do it a bit more rapidly. We're putting solar panels on our homes, on our businesses, in towns. The townships of Long Island are doing quite a bit to make their own buildings energy efficient, putting insulation, for example, changing their fleets over to electric cars or hybrid vehicles. Each of us can do that. I know the state is doing a lot to make sure there are more charging stations for electric vehicles. Again, we might not hear the leadership so much on the federal level right now, but the states are doing a lot, and the townships. And so the utilities also, like let's say you'd like to put more efficient equipment in your house, and you say, maybe I don't have all the money. Well, the utilities are offering programs to incentivize that, to offer incentives to make things more cost effective for people. So there's so many things that we can do. It's just a matter of thinking, to do them.
Absolutely, because I know even if you consider solar panels, which would be amazing, there is a refund. I just put solar panels on my home, and when I did my taxes, I was surprised. There's a nice chunk coming back due to the solar panels. So I think people can't really use the reason, well, it's too expensive, let me not do it. Now here in Suffolk County, in Long Island, there's a law that passed March 1st of no more plastic. You can't purchase it, no more. So what are your thoughts about that? You're extremely smiling, so you're happy.
Yes, so I was actually part of the Suffolk County Committee with legislator Kara Hahn to help get that law passed. So what the idea was just to create awareness and reduce some waste with plastic straws, for example. I mean, it seems like a little thing, but at least it's something we can change to make it to use paper or metal straws, alternatives. And instead of using styrofoam, which actually is very toxic, it contains styrene, which is a carcinogen. So we really shouldn't be consuming food, especially hot food, out of styrofoam cups due to our health. There are alternatives like this. They're made from paper that are biodegradable. So there are alternatives, and it's just a matter of getting used to doing that, and hopefully we'll start to see less plastic in the ocean, because now we're hearing about big islands of plastic and microplastics in the ocean, which the fish eat, and it's bad for us if we eat fish. So
now, as far as plastic in these containers, has that also gone into effect where restaurants can't use it, or is it just the plastic bags right now?
Yes, it's the styrofoam food containers as well, and now statewide, as of March 1st, like you said, the state said no more plastic bags for going out of grocery stores. So it's a matter of remembering just to bring our own.
Bring them, or you'll have to buy another 99-cent reusable bag, because that's the big thing now. Definitely. Now, you have some other things here. Do you want to share what else you have for us?
Sure. So I wrote a book called The Green Wardrobe Guide, and it's about clothing, because it's another aspect that people don't really think about. And it's encouraging people to wear clothing of natural fabrics. So this is organic cotton. My pants are made of hemp.
Wow.
This is, again, hemp and bamboo and recycled materials. Because, even with fleece, it's made of polyester, which is made of plastic, and those little fibers are going off into our waterways. So that's one thing we can do. And another thing Green Inside and Out would like to start working on more is food waste, like not throwing out so much food, because unfortunately, aside from it being a social issue where people are hungry and we're throwing out good food, it's also a methane issue, because when the food goes into landfill, it gives off methane, which is a greenhouse gas. So you can use bags and containers that help keep your vegetables fresh longer. These are plastic, but at least they keep the vegetables fresh longer. And with cleaners, we want to try and not use so many toxic cleaners that have toxins in them that can affect our respiratory system. And some cleaners now contain 1,4-dioxane, which we're finding in our water. The Citizens Campaign for the Environment has a big campaign about that, which products contain that chemical or not. So there are green cleaners, even from Stop and Shop you can find ones, just one particular brand, but there's many. So it's just a matter of knowing to look for these things. There's usually a greener alternative to almost anything.
And you're right, even when I go to a local supermarket, they are putting a lot more greener products on the shelf. So they're making it easier and pretty affordable, because anytime we think about greener and healthier, we think about expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when we
Yeah.
talk about, so the clothing you speak about being organic, being hemp,
Mm-hmm.
where would people, if they're interested, where would they find it?
Well, a lot of times you can find it online, and there are certain brands that sell organic cotton and hemp. You just have to look online. There are certain stores, like Patagonia happens to be one, Eileen Fisher. But yeah, they don't necessarily have to be more expensive these days, and it has a lot to do with consumer demand. It's very exciting because
Absolutely.
we vote with our dollars. So the more we're willing to invest in these greener products, the more there will be, and the price goes down. And we've seen that actually with solar. The cost of solar
Yes.
has come down because there's so much demand, which is great.
Absolutely. So you're hearing it straight from Beth Fattini, director of Green Inside and Out, sharing her insight how we can still save our earth. And we have been the cause then of some of the disasters taking place. Is it safe to say that?
We've contributed to them for
We've
sure.
contributed.
Yep.
Absolutely. And again, we can take small steps to make a difference. Like Beth mentioned, we can't use plastic bags out in Suffolk County unless you have some stash, but you're not going to be able to get them when you go grocery shopping. So that's a step. Reducing the plastic, like you mentioned, out at sea, affecting our fish, and a lot of whales and a lot of animals that have been coming out to shore.
Yes.
And when they open these animals, or
Yes.
things happen naturally, they find so much plastic in these poor animals. So sometimes I even see videos on Facebook of turtles and being it's just sad. So we have to start doing what we can do at our levels, right?
And pesticides as well wash into our waterways, so we have to think about that, going organic with our lawn care.
Yes. And I know you did something regarding the cleaners too, about the products or the things they use.
Oh, the dry cleaners.
Dry
Yes,
cleaners.
Yes. So we did a paper a couple of years ago about greener options for dry cleaning. And again, legislator Kara Hahn here in Suffolk, she passed a law that requires the dry cleaners to put a sign on the wall so we can all look for it now here in Suffolk County. What are they using? Because before we wouldn't know. So perchloroethylene is a carcinogen that's typically used, but now more and more due to consumer demand, there are greener options being made available here on Long Island. So on my website, which is greeninsideandout.org, there's a listing of the greener dry cleaners. Needs to be updated, but
it's there.
It's there.
Oh my God. Thank you, Beth. Thank you so much for your time. Again, Beth Fattini from Green Inside and Out, sharing some valuable information. And again, Beth, please share again where they can find some more information. If they want to talk to you directly, how do they get in contact with you?
Sure, absolutely. And one other thought I just forgot is eating lower on the food chain, more plant-based food. I've been vegetarian for 30 years. So.
Oh, good. And I know a lot of people have been putting their own gardens out there, and really planting and eating what they plant. So I think that's definitely a key.
That helps with the climate as well, because the greenhouse gases come from the factory farming system that we have, unfortunately. But my website, to answer your question, is greeninsideandout.org. And please contact me. You can find me through the website and listen to the radio show. There's a blog, there's information you can download. I'm always happy to answer people's questions. So,
thank you so much, Beth. Again, thank you for joining us with Beth Fattini, a great segment about the disasters going on in our world and what we can do to avoid or lessen them, right? So there's a lot we can do. Go green, definitely an option. Go organic.
yes.
We can all do our little part in saving our earth. Please stay tuned. We're going to have some special guests, Margarita Espada y Medella Maldonado. We're going to be talking about Puerto Rico. Flutterflies TV, where we're sharing some valuable information. We're here with some real people, real talk, sharing some information. Our last segment was with Beth Fattini, talking about natural disasters. Are we the cause, or is it just something simply that's happening to our earth? But as she shared, there's some steps that we can do to definitely save our earth and have a greener and longer earth to be on, to be real. Now we have two special ladies. Now the Boricuas took the floor.
Yeah, huepa.
Se necesitan huepa, claro que sí. I have the honor and the pleasure to be here with two beautiful ladies. Margarita Espada from Teatro Hierba Bruja. She is the founder and the director. Welcome. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí.
Gracias a ti por la invitación.
Of course. We're also joined by Daja Maldonado, operations director from Adelante. Thank you for being here. It is an honor.
Thank you.
So, like I mentioned, we have tres boricuas, Dios mío. So we're going to try to go through this
on fire
smoothly because we can talk a lot. So, Margarita, definitely a great leader in our community. You have done so much for our community here in Suffolk County. In addition, you're still very involved with Puerto Rico. You were one of the, I would guess, say one of the pioneers when Huracán Maria took place. So what made you really get involved with that whole project? You guys did something really big. So can you share a little bit with our audience what happened?
Yeah, well, what happened was, as you know, I'm the director of the Puerto Rican Hispanic Parade, and when Hurricane Maria happened, so the press was calling me. They wanted to interview me, and it was a very, very tough time for me because my whole family is in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So not only that I was like, they was asking me what was my response as a Puerto Rican leader, but in that moment, I realized I was beyond being a leader, that I was in the middle of my crisis too. And what I did was, I don't want it just to be the face of this support. So I did call all my Puerto Rican friends and leaders, so they united, and we have a press conference as a group, and that was okay for me to direct the movement. But for me, it was so important to take political advantage of that situation, and just to show the human side of the experience, and at the same time unite us because we are suffering together. So my organization, my art center became the center for healing, to get together. Yes, people was donating all these supplies to us, but at the same time we have also a safe space for crying, to hold each other, and to figure out where our family was. So that was for me a key. Obviously, we were never expecting the amount of supply. We have like 200 pounds. It was crazy. And I learned the challenge of transportation, the challenges. I knew that I wanted all my supplies to go hand to hand, from grassroots to grassroots. And because I grew up in Puerto Rico, I have my people there.
Okay.
So we created such a networking. So there was a challenge of now you have, and that's something that I learned, and I know everyone is dealing with that. So it's not about to collect material, it's what the people need. Listen to the people. Be aware that you have people on the ground there, and how you mobilize that resources there. So there was a challenge, but God working mysterious way.
Absolutely, you definitely made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So friends, we're here with Margarita Espada, director and founder of Teatro Hierba Bruja, sharing her experience with Huracán Maria, which happened, how many years now, Margarita, was that?
It's going to be 3 years.
3 years. So, and one of the very important things that you shared was, even for those Puerto Ricans or Boricuas que están aquí in New York, we still suffer and feel the pain of our people back on the island. So it's definitely something we always like. It's anytime you see a Boricua, it's like you see like a brother or a sister.
Yeah, it's family.
We're very united, definitely. We're definitely a family. It doesn't matter. Once you say, soy Boricua, it's like, oh, okay, we have a clique. So we definitely support each other, like you mentioned.
And you bring something so important that happened during with Maria, and especially as an immigrant community. So we call the diaspora, no? So what Hurricane Maria teach us that how it's so important for people outside to support the island, because we are an island, so it's an isolation.
Absolutely.
So that we are one Puerto Rico. We're in different places.
Absolutely. So I laugh because I have such a hard time with my beautiful friend here, my Daja.
You got it.
I got it finally. So recently, as many of us know, unless you're under a rock, Puerto Rico has been hit with thousands of earthquakes. So I was reading last night that they're up to, and this number can be wrong, up to over 6,000 earthquakes has hit Puerto Rico since last year, the end of last year. I love my isla. I try to go there at least once a year. I'm de Cabo Rojo, so I love there. I went to high school. I wasn't born there, but I lived there for 11 years, did my high school, did some college. Margarita, I know you were born there. ¿En qué parte?
En Ay Bonito.
Ay Bonito. And Medella, were you there? Medalla. Were you there? Were you born there?
I born there, I raised there.
¿De qué parte? What part?
Utuado.
Utuado, okay. So I know recently now when the earthquake started at a very higher frequency, you flew there, right? You were there like for the Christmas time?
I was there when Hurricane Maria. I go through Hurricane Maria, and I after having passed lost everything in my house, so I come here too because my father lived here.
So you went through the effects of Hurricane Maria, then you felt you needed to come
and
here.
then I guess I get my ticket to go to visit my family in January. So I arrived Puerto Rico in January 5th, and the airgate was in January 6th.
Wow.
So it was like, I was thinking, the Islander wasn't me here, what's going on? And stuff, but it was very hard. It was a very, very hard experience. Mostly the fear, because we just go through the Hurricane Maria, and we are like living that again, the line in the gas station without light. So it was like, really, I'm passing through this again. But like Margarita said, that this is another opportunity that Puerto Rican people have to know how resilient we are. That Puerto Rican people is so strong. We are so resilient people. So this shows us how big is our heart, and how we can help each another, like how we can be together even if the world is going down. Puerto Rican people
Absolutely.
know how to help each other. So that's the big impress that I was have, like when I've been there, and I know that everybody have their family there and everybody are aware what's going on. But look around me, I'm looking around me and see everybody trying to help another people, everybody in this effort to help that people in the south of the island, because you can feel the earthquake in the whole island, but the south of the island is like, it's terrible. It's so hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. Friends, we're here on Flutterflies TV through Descubre y Lánzate. We're here with Margarita and my Daya. I'll get it.
You're good.
And I definitely agree with you. Puerto Ricans are definitely strong people. We don't let anything just tear us down. If we fall, we will definitely get up.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're seeing in our islands. My friends, please give us some love, show us some like, put in your comments, show my guests some love too. Again, we're here to inspire, motivate you. We're here with some real people having some real talk, and we'll be right back with some more valuable information and to see how can we still support our family back on the island. We're talking about definitely the disasters that has hit Puerto Rico back to back. But as we agree, Puerto Rico, Boricuas are definitely strong individuals. We're not going to let our island go down. We're doing anything possible to definitely uplift our people back home. So we're talking a little bit about what the experience was with the recent earthquake disasters. So I know you both still have family back home. So can you share what you might be doing from here to really uplift the spirits or even help them, whether it's monetary or with food, the people back home?
As you know, I'm also an educator, so for me, I'm an artist. So I did, as part of my movement with Hurricane Maria, I'm doing the same with Carta de Esperanzas, where it's an educational campaign for children in the same high school here. I'm sending letters to our kids in Puerto Rico. I'm very strong supporting educators. They are teaching outside now, so they don't want any children to get behind with their education.
Yes.
And I also have friends that are using the art as a therapy because we don't talk about trauma and people don't talk about it. Not only about physical stuff, the rights of beings, it's about how you really, especially for children, they don't know how to explain that, or they don't understand what a natural disaster means. So we are working with psychology, with education, and providing through professional services in mental health and also education and to the arts. So that's kind of what I'm focusing this time. And I know you are focusing more. So a lot of people that are sending me products or are doing it this time. We don't need, the important of working together as a community, that we don't need to replicate effort when we can unite. So I'm saying everything to this group with Lady Rosalie Gonzalez. I'm directing this time everything to them, and I ask what they need. And what they're needing is more like gift cards in this moment, so they can buy this. It's difficult to send. And I'm focusing on education and mental health and art.
Absolutely. So a lot of people don't understand that the schools in Puerto Rico have been closed for quite some time. There are some that are started opening, but again, many parents fear, are these structures still safe? What's the quality of education? So I think you're doing wonderful with uplifting our students back home. And definitely, collaboration is key. Why duplicate what's already happening? It's really about collaborating, and let's see how, because as a team, I always believe we do a lot more, right? So definitely, I agree also with the gift cards. I think that's an amazing idea because now not only are you helping someone there, but you're also helping the economy stay alive in Puerto Rico.
It's very important, and people have different needs, you know. So if no one need all these million of rice and beans, you know.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's medicine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my daja, I'm gonna be the whole program like that. So you went to Puerto Rico, you came back, and when you came back strong. Because you were like, what can I do for my people?
I came back like devastated, you know, because I have to leave all my family there, you know. My mom is there, my grandma, all my uncles, my cousin, my whole family is in Puerto Rico.
So that was very devastating to you.
It was very hard for me just come here back and leave all my family there. But as I think, okay, so now I'm here and I know I can do something for them. So with, like Margarita said, with his Lord Sammy Gonzalez and Jibarito's groups, we joined forces and we have an event in past February in Adelante. So we collect a lot of items. People was very willing to donate this item, and we already sent it for Puerto Rico. And we send it with people, with another organization who bring these items to the people who was affected for the earthquake. So we didn't do nothing with the government or so we were like a part of that. But now what Adelante is doing is like we receive a grant from OTDA for the Hurricane Maria, but now they give us the permission to help people that are displacement work for earthquake too. So people can go to the Atalanta's office in 3rd Avenue, Brentwood, and fill out an application for this help available. So we are going to bring gift cards for $500 for each member of their family. So yeah, I invite you to, if you just come from Puerto Rico, pass for our office in Brentwood, Atlanta, Suffolk County, fill out the application, and we are going to be very happy to help you and help your family.
So absolutely, Puerto Ricans are definitely very supportive of each other, definitely very united, and like you mentioned before, regardless of if we're related through bloodline, we definitely consider each other a brother or sister.
Yeah, if
right?
you see a flag in the car,
That's it. It's on. Come on. Eres primo, prima.
Yeah, that's it.
So one of the things I tried to stay very in tune with Puerto Rico through the Facebook. There was a lot of Facebook Live when all the heavy earthquakes started happening. And you definitely see the support within the island, them really expressing that their island will be there to stay, they're going to do whatever, and they're gonna go past this, right? So they're still experiencing some earthquakes, right? I have some friends back home, they say they're getting used to these earthquakes, which is like you mentioned before, definitely trauma when you're young, right?
Oh, yes.
So then I can't even imagine. So now I'm thinking twice if I'm gonna go when I'm going back home, because I do have to go back to my beautiful island. But one of the things that really hurt was for those that are very involved in Puerto Rico or lived in Puerto Rico, the politics in Puerto Rico is a very tough topic. So recently, maybe a couple of months ago, when they discovered warehouse after warehouse with tons of food, water, medicine, how did you feel when that was put out? Because it was always a hearsay. There is something, and then finally someone discovered these warehouses of items that should have been going to our people, our Boricuas, and it was just there in warehouses. How did you feel when you got those news?
That's frustrating.
I think, we can share, I grew up in Puerto Rico too. I came here just a month ago. So we know that politics is very corrupt. So we grew up in a corrupt country, we know that. So it's surprised, but it's not surprised. It's not kind of evident for us that we know we're right. It's sad that the number, they cover the number, is around 5,000 people died during Hurricane Maria as people at the hospital with no water. I remember doctor calling me, sending water. So it's tragic, it's a disgrace. But at the same time, I can tell you that being in Puerto Rico, twice during the year I try to go at least twice.
Okay.
And Puerto Rico is changing, such a beautiful place. Agriculture, we have such a rich country. People were back, especially the new generation, this millennium. Is agriculture program in every corner. The creativity to do business now, the chinchorreos, culinary restaurant in every corner, through the art, it's amazing and just like blowing away. I'm so proud and how as a Puerto Rican I take it with your own hands, because now what natural disaster show us, you cannot wait for anyone to save you. You need to be hand-on and work together with the land. And Puerto Rico is a rich country, so because the political reasons that we take 3 more programs to discuss, we cannot do business in any other country. So we are blocked. So now they realize that you cannot wait for someone to send you to Florida merchandise. So now agriculture is back. So now you have neighbors, I have a store in the corner. So the economy, I don't know, you have to
that's growing in Puerto Rico, and I'm so happy that you bring that to this conversation, because this new generation is not that blind. This generation are people who like the justice, and this generation are telling the government, stay home, Puerto Rican people is working.
Well, absolutely, because the new generation, they got the governor
out of the island.
Yeah, so they know what's right, what's wrong, and they will stand up for justice, as you mentioned. Absolutely.
No, exactly, because I have my daughter, so it's like, you are the generation to believe in the government. I'm the generation, you go to college, you get a degree, and you will have a job. They know that's not true. That's not true. It's not guaranteed for a job. They see us struggling to keep a house, to keep food on the table. Absolutely. They are witness of that. So they don't believe in the system in the same way we did. So they're changing, and it's I think happening globally, connecting to what happened to the planet.
Yes.
The natural disaster. You see the movement around the planet, because the new generation, I'm so proud of them. They're really changing because it's nothing for them. They don't make it.
They have to be hands-on, definitely.
And that's one of the points, but it's very important. I don't know, maybe this is not under this conversation, but keep the University of Puerto Rico working. Keep that, because that is the only space where the new generation have to think, you know, to think about what's going on in the island. So, like a Puerto Rican, we have to try to keep that university not free, but able for the student that want to.
Available to our
Yeah.
students, right? Absolutely. So, you both lived in Puerto Rico, both born in Puerto Rico. Okay, so my father's Puerto Rican, my mother's Ecuadorian. Like I mentioned before, I had the pleasure to live in Puerto Rico for about 11 years. When I moved to Puerto Rico, it was, I started high school. I didn't like my parents because I had lived in Brooklyn my whole life till I turned 14. And it was a very big difference from one thing where you hear trains and activity outside, and then we moved to un pueblo pequeño, Cabo Rojo, and all I heard at night was coqui, coqui, coqui. I was driving me insane.
I miss that.
But now I do miss it, and as I grew older and I had my children, I realized how lucky I was to be able to live on an island, a beautiful island, where at any time of the year I can go to the beach. So I started learning when my friends were dying, when there was snow actually in New York, in snowstorms, I was disfrutando en Puerto Rico, en Boquerón, Combate, because ladies, I have to stand up for Cabo Rojo. We have one of the most beautiful beaches.
I agree with that. I agree with you. I did that to you.
Oh
my goodness. The whole year.
Let me tell you, when I was growing up, I used to go to Coney Island, and we used to, every summer, be in Coney Island, jumping in, jumping out, whatever. But when I went to Puerto Rico, it was like you're getting into backwater. Now, for me to get in a beach here,
Oh, exactly.
It's not the same, right?
the only beach, I've gone to Florida, sorry, my Florida friends, but no, I won't get in there.
We're spoiled.
Now, the only one that gave some competition
Puerto
to
Rico,
Puerto Rico was St. Thomas.
Well, that's the Caribbean.
Oh my
It's
God,
just in the
so
Caribbean.
beautiful.
We're in the Caribbean.
That's the only place that we went to on a cruise, and we stopped in St. Thomas. I was with one of my best friends, Elvin, and that was the first time you ever heard me say, wow, hay competencia.
Oh, I don't know. If you went to Flamingo and Culebra.
That's what I was saying. Puerto Rico have the most beautiful beach in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thinking back, what are one of your most beautiful memories, or one of those places that you're like, you know what, if you go to Puerto Rico, you have to visit this place?
Well, I'm from Port Ay Bonito, so we have El Cañón San Cristobal, which is like not a lot of people visit because it's very kind of dangerous. But now it's in control by the government. It's a lot of eco-tourists, so it's a challenge, but it really, it's a canyon. So you go deep down inside, and it's beautiful rivers, all nature. It's like our little Amazon,
Yeah.
So that's definitely, and Ay Bonito is the town of the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in San Juan, but I always need to go there, connect with nature, it's flowers, or different kind of flowers. So definitely to visit my town.
Awesome. How about you?
But I'm gonna say a little bit the same. The Margarita, I born and raised in the center of the island, so all what I live and what I miss is natural, rivers, cove, and I remember when I was young, go with my friend to play in a cove, and nobody have that experience here, and so I said to come to Aldo, visit our rivers, and
the indigenous.
that's what I'm gonna say.
The indigenous Taino.
Yeah, they have a park that called Taino Indigenous Park in Caguanas, and it is the most important one in Caribbean area. So yeah, so we have a lot of beautiful places in Puerto Rico that we can visit and go around the island and have a very, very, very nice time with family and enjoy the beauty of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, what is beautiful now for people that listen see us is that with the Chicharreo now it's easy to do. The ecotourism is big, and business and tourism, because Puerto Rico is a tourist island.
Yes,
let's put it how it is. So you can go go now and you can be part of these tours, but very like the community tours. And in the same way, you are really supporting the grassroots economy. And so I love that movement now that in every town have a school bar for the
doing music,
and everything. And but you don't need to drive. You can go around the island, and this is a new movement about reclaiming our own economy.
Amazing, amazing. My friends, we're here on Flutterflies TV through Descubre y Lánzate, the channel that makes magic happen. You can definitely watch us on YouTube through Descubre y Lánzate or through DescubreYLánzateTV.com. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and I have some very special guests. Dos boricuas, dos hermanas, two beautiful ladies, Margarita y Maydaya.
Now you got it.
Yes. So, ladies, thank you again for joining me. So,
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. It was fun. So, for our friends and our families back home, what would be your message to them?
We are here, our brothers and sisters. We are here in the diaspora. We have power, and we are connected. We are all in one Puerto Rico, and that's how we always work. We are here to support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like Margarita said, we are one Puerto Rico. Even if you are in the island or you are here in the diaspora, we are one heart, and we are going to do everything that we can to support you guys, to help you, and to send all our love to you.
Absolutely. So, to my friends and my families back home, I know I was trying to connect with some of you to be on the show today, but it couldn't happen, but we will definitely connect soon. I've always said Puerto Ricans are extremely strong, and regardless of what's happening, because I get very emotional because I still have a lot of people back home. It's an island that I have dear to my heart. Things will get better. I do feel that, and never give up. Support each other, and you know that you have the support of your family here on Long Island. Please, I'll look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, on Flutterflies TV. Thank you.